What up, sheet
Up.
watchers? How's it going? Oh my gosh, look at the assistant coming in to watch because he never watches. Don't tell him.
Oh,
So,
making a save. When's the anniversary?
right, Shauna Luhu. It's gonna be a while, I think. Put the anniversary in there. You know, I never remember those silliness. Those things. How's it going, Renee?
Hi, Sandy. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
How much wine have you had tonight, ma'am?
I've had
I thought she was trying out her beatboxing skills.
No, right? I'm trying to be like Trey. No, it's my retainer, and it's right there on the top of the roof of my mouth. And sometimes I can't speak correctly, but that's okay.
I've encountered the same problem. I'm like, my lip gets stuck, and then they get stuck up here. Anyway, if you see it, mind your business, people. Mind your business. CPJ, what up? Coming in third with those comments. So, welcome back, Sheet Talker watchers. Yeah, all y'all are watchers now, like from our episode.
Oh, from the Watcher's House.
Do you remember that? All y'all are watchers.
I do remember, actually. You know why it was so creepy for me? That shows because we actually were able to bring up the map and look at the Watcher's House from Google Maps.
And we became watchers.
And we started watching them too.
Oh,
Sylvia Jennings,
you were talking about.
Sylvia? Yeah, it was really creepy watching it and hearing the story that Sandy was telling and being like, "Oh my gosh,
I'm such a good little storyteller."
Yeah,
actually, I was just reading stuff, but anyway, good times. Joanne, how's it going, Joanne? I'm so glad you're on, Joanne. I miss you. We need to do lunch again, and not that same place we had it from last time, Joanne. Don't do it, Joanne. Don't invite me there again. Anyway, oh my gosh. Guys, help me welcome Renee. Renee has been a guest of STS before, and we always have a good time. Why? Because we talk about our favorite things. What's your favorite thing? Murder and paranormal. Renee, you have your own show.
I do.
I want you to tell us a little bit about your show.
Well, thank you so much. My show is called The Ghost, Wine, and Spirit Show. And as you said before, we talk about the paranormal. And so we talk about ghost activity mainly and spooky stories. And then before we dive into it, just like you're doing right now, we kind of delve into wine. I know. I introduce a new wine and talk about the notes of it, where it's from, the characteristics, the origin of it. Or I talk about a spirit, which can be either a ghost spirit or a liquor.
Yes. It's all encompassing.
I want our guests to relax, enjoy. I want you guys to feel when you come to my show like you're gathered around the fire, listening to spooky ghost stories and enjoying yourself and just relax.
Well, I love it because I love to comment on your show and throw out my little paranormal knowledge that I have. And so, wow, I enjoy my own spirits. So there's that. Renee, you also have a really good side hustle that you just did a live on. And I want you to talk about that because there's something exciting coming out on. Please share with us.
There is something exciting coming out, but before I get to that, I am a Scentsy consultant, an independent Scentsy consultant, and I never thought I would do this, but when the pandemic hit, I needed to find some sort of way to work from home, and I was given an opportunity to join Scentsy, and I just took a leap of faith. I never thought I would be successful, and you guys, you know what? I'm doing great. It has taken off and continues to surprise me and my husband because he didn't think I could do this every month. And it's amazing because on May the 4th, for Star Wars fans, Scentsy is doing a Star Wars launch, and there's an R2-D2 warmer coming out, and I'm losing my mind because it projects Princess Leia on it. And so if you guys don't know me, I love R2-D2 so much.
Your tattoo. Show us
how much you love. This is love. Yes. This is how much I love him.
I love that.
It is my R2-D2 with a balloon. Long story short, I had the balloon first, wanted to add it, got R2. And here we are. And now my company that I represent is selling an R2-D2 warmer. And my head was, but not only that, they're selling the child or Grogu or Baby Yoda warmer.
Whatever you want to call him.
I know, whatever you want to call him. The little cute baby.
You need it, Jamie, for your new house.
Need what? I didn't even know what you were saying. I've been
Baby
listening to everything.
Yoda.
I just
You missed
Baby
it.
Yoda warmer, Scentsy warmer.
I thought y'all said something else. I was like, what?
No,
we would never tell you need spirits. What is your problem, sir?
So yeah, I'm real excited. And so if you love Star Wars or Scentsy, just hit me up after the show.
Yes, please. If you guys are into Scentsy, please hit Renee up. I love your passion for your business. And so anytime I can support something like that has a passion for it, I'm right there with you. So couple of comments we have here. CPJ says she is in front of, they're around their fire pit. Y'all know fire pits are near and dear to my heart. I love a good fire pit. Priscilla, thanks for hopping on here, saying hello. Okay.
Hey, Priscilla.
Before we get any further, please hit the like, the heart, the care emojis. Leave your sad and your angry emojis at home, okay? Ain't nobody got time for that. Quick disclaimer, the views and thoughts and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to me, okay? And they're not necessarily my employer's organization committee or any other group or individual. As always, viewer, listener discretion is advised. I have to put that out there because some of y'all are crazy, okay? I just can't handle y'all sometimes. Anyway.
Some of them are crazy. Oh, I'm so sorry.
What are we talking about?
I was on mute. I'm so sorry.
No, some of these people just be crazy and trying to hold me and, just against stuff. Whatever. I can say what I want. I talk sheet, people. It's what I do for a living. Not for a living. It doesn't pay. Talking sheet doesn't pay the bills. Anyway. Okay. You ready for this? Today we have a little bit of everything wrapped up in this 1 hour show. We have murder. We have mystery. And we have paranormal, courtesy of the Cecil Hotel. And you know that I'm bringing you the murder and I'm bringing you the mystery. Mrs. Renee is bringing you the paranormal. Okay.
Paranormal. It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited about this.
I know, right? And Joanne says, where are you, Jamie? I can't see you. She can't see
He's
you.
the pie. He turned into a pineapple.
I'm here, but
he's currently stuffing his face.
He's hungry.
I don't want y'all to see me eat or hear me eat, so I'm trying to hurry and chomp this down.
No, don't hurry. I just want you to be in the background and listening.
Okay.
And then just be supportive. You just take your time, enjoy your meal. Hey, Sean, how are you, sir? You. So, okay, are you guys ready for this? Oh, also, listen, I'm going to be ruining the Netflix show. I'm going to ruin the Netflix show for you, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. So if you haven't watched it, hit me on the replay. Because I'm going to tell you what happened and how I feel about it because that's what I do. Spoiler freaking alert, okay? Are y'all ready for this? Renee, are you ready?
For this?
Jamie, I need you to play some music for me. Okay, or don't, Jamie. Just continue eating.
Yeah, he's just eat.
Yes! Okay, listen. Before I jump in, was it Jacob? It was Jacob, right? Jacob Hamill, back in 2013, drew the bestest. I mean, I swear it looked just like Henry Cavill. Is that what his name is?
Vin Diesel, right?
No.
Get out of here. It was
Cavill.
Superman. It was Henry Cavill, one of those. Anyway,
he's so hot.
He's so hot. And why am I even wearing a sweater? It's so hot here. Julia Page, how's it going, ma'am? Thank you for joining us tonight. Anyway, whatever. Spoiler alerts. I want you to watch, but don't watch because I'm going to spoil this for you guys. So anyway, ready for this? We're going to talk about the Cecil Hotel. Most of you guys know the Cecil Hotel. You probably know the Cecil Hotel because it was thrust into the spotlight in 2013 when Elisa Lam disappeared. But before I tell you that story, let me tell you this story. Oh my gosh, Jamie, are you going to show us the picture?
Only if you want me to.
Yes, I want. Okay, I want y'all to see Jacob Hamill's talent. And Jamie, I want to be like, do I ask him if I can buy it? Look at this. Look, it looks just like him. I want it so bad. Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
That's really so awesome.
Yeah, and then someone I don't see the comment anymore, but someone had put up a funny comment of him with a mustache.
Yes, I did see one of his friends was like, "Hey, I fixed this for you." But this is amazing. Like I saw that and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that looks just like him." And I immediately tagged
really
Jamie because Jamie and I are spirit animals when it comes to Superman.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, "Holy cow! What in the world?"
That's crazy. That's
Jacob,
amazing talent.
Jacob set a price. Jacob, Jamie will pay it.
Yes, I want it
Jamie's
shipped
gonna pay
and
that.
framed and everything, Jacob.
Framed. I mean, the autograph is there. I mean, oh my gosh,
It's beautiful. It's absolutely
beautiful.
gorgeous. Yep.
Jacob, I'm fangirling. I'm not even gonna lie. I fangirled and I've been fangirling. John, be quiet, John. This is beautiful. We have to acknowledge this beauty.
It's a beautiful man too.
He is a beautiful little specimen. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Cecil Hotel. There's nothing beautiful about the Cecil Hotel. Okay. So anyway, let's focus. This is what I have to tell myself every day. Oh my gosh, I didn't even tell y'all. Renee and I were talking about passport photos. Let me just tell y'all this. I'm just glad I have a husband. That passport photo, oh my gosh. Y'all, it just like seriously, now I have self-esteem issues because of that passport photo. I'm like, oh my gosh, Eric must be blind. And I'm grateful that he's blind.
You're so pretty. Would you hush?
No, seriously. Like I took this picture and I've got it's like I've got chew on one side. Like they told me, take your earrings out. So then now I'm like, okay, my ears are like huge all of a sudden. And then they were like, pull your hair back behind your ears. Anyway, y'all.
They made you do that?
Yes, because they're like, your picture, we need to see your ears. So I'm like, okay, so I'm smiling. They're like, you don't need to smile. And I'm like, what? So anyway, this picture is awful. Oh my gosh. I'm just grateful that I have a husband, and I just want y'all to know that I was under the table when the Lord was passing out looks, because oh my god. Okay.
Girl,
seriously, oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to the Cecil Hotel because it's bad.
I didn't want to hit mute.
No, you're good. Wait, did you wait a second? So I thought you were talking about yourself. Okay, rude. Focus. Okay. So anyway, back to the Cecil Hotel. Okay. So it was thrust into spotlight in 2013 when Elisa Lam disappeared. But I'm going to give you some history. Okay. So don't say you didn't learn anything, because you have, because I'm teaching you. Okay. And I don't even have my teaching certificate. So there's that. So the Cecil Hotel opened up in Los Angeles, California in 1927 after 3 years of construction. It was built with the intention that all the highfalutin business and international travelers would come stay, but that was short-lived because we entered the Great Depression 2 years later. Okay. And did I mention the close proximity to Skid Row? And you're probably saying, what is Skid Row, Sandy? Let me tell you. Skid Row is an area of approximately 50 square blocks located just east of downtown LA, also known as Central City East. The area has a long-standing history of homeless people, many with mental health issues and drug addiction. So I'm not going to be like the PBS channel. I'm not going to ask you for donations because of everything you're learning today. I'm just going to drop some more knowledge, okay? So anyway, let me tell you a funny story.
Please send it to if you do something,
right?
JPN123. That is my Venmo, and I will make sure it gets taken care of nicely. Thank you, everyone.
If you do want to donate. So anyway, let me see. CBJ says, "Girl, the way you see yourself, waving teeth, chewing the mouth, ears for days. Girl, we need to get you a pair of art." Yes, Carrie, give me your eyeballs. I want to see this because oh my gosh, I'm telling you, that passport mess with
you. You don't want my eyeballs, girl. You don't want mine.
No, because you have cornea issues. Oh, B says, "Hey B, good evening." Oh, I like tonight's topic. I used to work 2 blocks away from the hotel. And then Julia Page says the story is crazy.
Did you hear anything?
Let me tell you this story, okay? So, a few years ago, I sent my boys, Alex and Cade, to go volunteer with my cousin, little B, that's in the comments down at Skid Row.
I remember a little bit of this.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So I wanted my boys to learn valuable lessons like living on the street with no electronics. I wanted them to know that making a wrong choice in life could land you in the streets, etc. Like this was going to be a valuable tool for my boys, okay? let me tell you something. The first, maybe the second day, Cade calls me and he's like, so you said no one on Skid Row has electronics, right, Mom? And I'm like, yes, no one has electronics. He said, I saw a guy with 3 devices. He was watching a movie on one and he was texting and doing something or other on the other one. So anyway, needless to say that life lesson did not turn out quite like I intended for that lesson to turn out. Anyway,
Alex says he was voluntold.
Alex was voluntold like right after. I'm like, hey, y'all are going to be learning the value of being on Skid Row.
For real though, you tell him.
So anyway, that did not work. But anyway, it was a good volunteer opportunity. B, thank you for putting up with my children for several weeks.
I mean, you don't have the World Okayest Mom Award for nothing, right?
Oh my gosh. If you follow me on Facebook, y'all saw my World's Okayest from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I mean, oh my gosh. It's hard being me. It really is.
It's not easy being Sandy.
It is not easy being me. So anyway, you have the Cecil Hotel, couple of blocks down, you have Skid Row. You get the picture? I hope you do. So anyway, let's go back to this. So the Cecil didn't turn out quite like it panned out to be. They had their first documented death, a suicide, in November of 1931. Look, okay, blame that on the braces. Do not blame it on this. Do not blame it on the spirits.
I don't know. I think it's that wine.
I was like, Viva asked the questions.
Zip it, people, zip it. So anyway, eventually the hotel transitions into single room occupancies, long-term rentals. Like there's people that are residents there. Like this is their address, which is the Cecil Hotel. And actually it's changed name to like the Mainstay or the Stay on Main, one of those things. Yeah. You know what? It's forever the Cecil. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, thank you so much for having a map for us. I appreciate that.
Right there. Stay on Main Hotel is
Stay on Main
Cecil Hotel. And there's Skid Row right there.
Yeah. It's currently closed. It's been closed for like 2 or 3 years.
It's because of COVID.
But no, it's been for 2 or 3 years. But
yes. Right. They knew they were cool before COVID was.
Yeah.
As of 2 weeks ago, someone bought it.
Of course they did.
They're going to reopen it.
Are they going to reopen it as a what? Is something highfalutin or something?
I don't know. But yeah, there it is. Creepy.
It's more creepy when we get to the story later on and you see these things right here.
Wait for it, kids. Okay. So anyway, a few noteworthy guests that have stayed at the hotel. Are y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
Some of you may or may not recognize Elizabeth Short. Some of you crime junkies will know her better as the Black Dahlia. Okay. It is said that after her stay at the Cecil, she was found murdered. Her story, the people that found her were really strange. They were like, can we go now? We have to finish our shopping. Let me tell you, I'd be like in therapy if I found if my child and I found a body, we'd be in therapy. But anyway, so those people reported the body of the Black Dahlia, and then they went on their merry way to continue their shopping for that day. So anyway, it is said, her murder to this day remains a mystery. Lots of good podcasts on her story. There was, what is it? The gentleman that was suspected of killing the Black Dahlia, his son has come out and said, yeah, my dad did it.
Yeah.
It is crazy to me. I actually believe the guy. I'm like, yeah, this guy saw something as a child. Yeah, his dad did it. I'm like, I'm all over that theory. Yeah, his dad did it. So anyway, a couple of unsavory serial killers also stayed at the Cecil, shocking, at the Cecil Hotel. And one you might recognize is going to be Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker.
I know that one.
Yes.
I'm learning something on this show.
You are learning. So here's the deal. It is said that he would dispose of his bloody clothes in the alley and then walk upstairs all bloody. And then
just in his underwear. And the people are like, yeah, that's Richard. Yeah. Okay.
Like it's normal. Like we're just back to business. And I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, no offense to anybody. What?
Look at him. He just looks.
Dude, I mean, listen.
Is he like trying out for In Living Color? Because he reminds me a little bit of Wanda right there.
Of Wanda, the water buffalo. Do you remember Wanda the water buffalo? Okay, if y'all don't know In Living Color, y'all have no idea what we're talking about.
You're too young to be watching this
Y'all
show.
are too young.
Go to bed.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
little babies.
go.
Little babies. So anyway, I'm just going to tell you this. If I saw a guy that was bloodied up in his tidy whities, I'm going to become, no offense to the Karen, this is just a name, not like you're a Karen, but I would become a Karen. And I'm going to be reporting the suspicious activity. And listen, if y'all see somebody like that, don't approach him, because he did have one person that approached him and she ended up dead. Don't approach these people, okay? And y'all, I did a whole show on this fool, just in case you're curious about what all he did, okay? We have a whole show out there, so go watch it. And the next name that I'm going to tell you, you guys are going to be like, Jack. Y'all aren't going to know it. Y'all aren't going to know Jack about Jack Unterweger. That's his name, Unterweger.
It makes me think of underwear for some reason.
Right. And yeah, exactly. But Jack was an Australian serial killer who, while visiting Los Angeles, killed 3. I have it written down on my notes as prostitutes, and I know that that is not the accurate term. Please help me remember. Is it night walkers, street walkers, sex workers? Oh my gosh, there it is. Mm-hmm. Sex workers.
I thought prostitutes. You were going to say ladies of the night.
Ladies of the night. Ho, ho, ho's. No, not Santa. Not Santa. But anyway, different topic for a different day.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't remember. It was, what did I say? Sex workers. Because I guess prostitutes is out. That's so weird. I like prostitutes. That's a better word. Anyway,
it
whatever.
Sounds very professional.
I think so too. Like I'd be a prostitute. No, not a toot.
You'd be a prostitute. Never mind.
No, that sounded wrong. Strike that from the record. We're gonna edit this. Not like I would be
prostitute.
Prostituting. No, horrible comments, people. Horrible. So anyway, Jack was an Australian. He was from down under. No, that's not a good accent. Just strike that one from the record. Where's Joe Baker? Where's Joe Baker in his accent?
He must be talking about you right now.
He's jelly. He is jelly of my.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Tell me, girl. Tell me.
Bad accents.
Oh,
just let you know real quick.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna say one. Rise Up Lights. I said razor blades, but you thought I said rise up lights, didn't you?
Because you did say that.
That's the one thing that I've learned in my accent. Anyway, okay. Y'all are taken from Jack Unterweger. Anyway, he was an Australian serial killer who, while visiting Los Angeles, stayed at the Cecil Hotel, and he killed 3. What did I tell you they were called?
Night workers.
Sex workers.
That's crazy. So at least he's consistent.
He's very consistent. You know what all he did?
Let
me tell you some. Let me tell you some history. Ready for this? The more you know. Okay, so as you know, Jack had to have had a troubled childhood. His mother spent time in jail for fraud. Jack, in the meantime, is living with his abusive grandfather. Okay. At the age of 5, I'm telling you, 5, Jack was already drinking alcohol, which I'm not judging him because I was drinking at 4. No big deal. He was drinking 5. But by his junior high years, or as some of y'all youngins on here, by his middle school years, middle school, he was in and out of jail for robberies and pimping. He was pimping.
5 years old?
Crazy.
No, you missed. Oh my gosh, you missed it.
In middle school.
In middle school.
Sorry.
In junior high for you and I, but in middle school. I'm just like, hold on a second. I didn't read this right. How do you pimp in middle school? I
mean, maybe it's different in the land down under. Maybe
you're so right. The land down under.
my God.
They do things a little different. You know, in the South, we do things a little different.
And their toilets flush wrong.
They do. They go backwards. So you start pimping. Yes, that's it. Anyway, I'm just kind of, I don't know how a middle school kid pimps, but play on, player. It ain't. There's so many songs that came to mind, and I can't think of one right now. Pimpin' ain't easy. I just crush a lot. Is that what? That one of them?
Yeah.
I think that was probably a song that he wrote. So anyway, it isn't funny being a pimp in middle school. I'm just laughing because I think it's funny being a pimp in middle school.
That's crazy.
Right? I just can't get over that. I'm really stuck on that. I apologize to all the middle school pimps. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. If you're a middle school pimp, please put yourself in the comments. I'd love to interview you for my show.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, every day. I'm not even kidding. Seriously, I was at my kids' band thing reading this over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm laughing at middle school pimps. Okay.
You're like, there's a pimp in this room somewhere. Name yourself, pimp.
Please, if you're a pimp, please stand up. Okay, I'm going to move past that. I'm going to try to get past that. So anyway, okay. I wonder if he's in last one. I wonder if he's in the Guinness World Book of Records for being the youngest pimp. Okay, I'm moving on from this. So anyway, one article did say it is such a crime for me to be commenting. I shouldn't even be commenting on this. I can't help it.
We can't even get to the meat and the potatoes.
We need to get to the meat and potatoes. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, I'm gonna focus.
Your fault alone though, so I blame Renee too. So
we're gonna focus on this. So it is okay. It is said that his mom and his grandma were sex workers. I can't get that. I'm sorry. It's gonna be a minute.
I need your Eric to write it down for you.
Where's my assistant when I need him?
I need on a Post-it note.
How much wine did you drink?
So I'm only on my second bottle. Oh. That's it. Okay.
That's
so anyway,
good. That's it. Just two.
So anyway, Unterweger had no choice but to be a pimp because his mom and his grandma. Okay. So Unterweger. All the middle school pimps drop it like Carrie, do not encourage me, Carrie. I'm trying my hardest to get past. No.
Sean said nothing.
Sean was not a pimp in middle school. Maybe in high school, Sean. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, focus. We're focusing. Okay. So anyway, Unterweger was giving a life sentence for murdering 18-year-old Margaret Schaefer. Lo and behold, Jack becomes a poster boy for prison reform. Are you listening to this? He murders a woman, and then he becomes a poster boy for prison reform. He read and he wrote and became a revered literary philosopher while in prison, serving his life sentence.
Got all that time to think.
He's got lots of time to think. He's got lots of time to formulate all of those thoughts. Mm-hmm. So he goes on to write his autobiography. His own autobiography. His story was so well read, several intellectuals, I'm going to use that term loosely, several intellectuals advocated for his release. Okay?
Okay.
I can't get over it. They're not intellectuals, okay? He was released after serving a mandatory 15-year sentence. He allegedly, after he was released, went on to murder 10 women, and he becomes somewhat of a celebrity, appearing on TV and publishing his writing. So in between his celebrity status, he's over here murdering people, okay? So then he comes over to Los Angeles and stays at the Cecil Hotel to cover crime stories because Austria didn't have crime, apparently. And Unterweger did ride-alongs with the police as they believed he was doing research for his articles. He was You know what he was doing?
Yeah.
He was scoping out streetwalkers. He was scoping out streetwalkers. And so the ones that he interviewed, he killed them. He killed the ones that he interviewed. And so anyway, he was eventually caught in Miami. He was extradited back to Austria for his crimes. And he unalived himself in the same manner as he murdered his victims. So what he did with his victims is he like tied these knots and strangled them with their own, I'm just going to say lingerie, bras, and underwear and stuff. And
that's a thing for some people.
And he used the same knots, like that he used for the people that he strangulated.
Like the ones from that landing.
Yeah. So then that's what the same knots that he used to unalive himself. Anyway.
Wasn't he one that he said that he was justified because he was getting them off the streets? He was cleaning up the streets
and then
that's why that's his justification.
His justification too is they feel like he saw his mom in these street workers, and that's why he would do it as well. He had mom issues.
Yeah. Oh man, mommy issues are bad.
So I think I'm stressing Julia out. She wants me to know that they're sex.
Why are you so adamant on her knowing that, Julia?
Yeah, Julia. So anyway, I told you all of that to tell you this.
Tell it to us.
So going back to Elisa Lam and the video that surfaced when Elisa Lam went, when she vanished, this is where the Cecil Hotel probably came into most of everybody's radar, especially crime junkies and sleuths and all that good stuff. And Jamie's going to show us this video just as a refresher, because this is what you guys saw on TV, and this is where everybody, the Cecil hit everybody's radar. So
what I want to do is preface a little bit before I play this, everyone, so that way we don't get taken off. I am only going to play a few seconds of this, but I have sped up the speed to double time, so 30 seconds worth of video would be 15. So in this case, we could play 60 seconds and get 30 seconds. But anyway, I'm not going to play it all. You can go out and look for the title that Sandy said, but it is kind of...
It's everywhere on YouTube.
It is all over YouTube, and if you watch the documentary. So here you find, here you see, this is Elisa Lam right here, okay?
That was...
You see her...
If you saw, she put her head out, looked both ways real fast, and came back in.
You see her kind of... I mean, this isn't normal behavior for somebody looking out of an elevator.
And that's all I can play.
Okay, so
tell us the rest, Sandy.
I'm going to tell you the rest of it. Okay, so she was a 21-year-old college student from British Columbia. And based on the Netflix series, if you haven't watched it, hey, David, how's it going? Her parents were kind of hesitant, but they let her go as long as she promised to call them every single day. And so anyway, Elisa checked in January the 26th of 2013, and she was last seen January the 30th. Her parents called the police as soon as they didn't hear from her. And during the investigation, they found that all of her belongings, her laptop, her cell phone, her backpack, all of her stuff was left in the room. So that quickly led to, lots of theories like, well, she didn't run away because she left everything behind. She was also huge on Tumblr. So she was constantly blogging and posting things on Tumblr.
Yeah.
So anyway, the video that Jamie just showed you, the police released this video in hopes that someone would come forward and say, hey, I've seen her. I know what happened to her. Mm-hmm. This video went viral. And let me tell you, when I first saw this video, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is paranormal. Like, I'm thinking she's seeing ghosts. Because if you guys watch it, go back and watch it like in regular slow motion and where you can watch all of it. We just don't want to get cut off from the show. You see her acting so strange. And to me, I was just like, oh, no. This girl was seeing ghosts. This was before, of course, the Netflix. This was before anything came out. This was just right whenever they were saying, help us find this girl. So anyway, one of the most popular theories that came out was that she was playing the Korean elevator game. I've never heard of this before, but let me tell you what it is. So what it is that you press buttons in a specific pattern and it opens up a portal to a different dimension.
Say what again?
Okay, I'm going to slow it down. Ready? The Korean elevator game, you press buttons in a specific pattern and that opens up a portal to a different dimension.
I
And
thought
so
you said
that,
this was a game.
yes, it's a Korean elevator game. And that was one of the biggest theories that came out. But she wasn't Korean, she was Chinese. Which doesn't mean that you can't play Korean games just because you're Chinese. That's just kind of what I gathered from that. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that she would. And then you do see her pressing, but I don't know if it was like a strategic pattern that she was pressing. So anyway, Elisa Lam's body would be found February 19th. So she disappeared. She was last seen January the 30th. Some of the things that they found was that her roommate. So this is, I don't know if you guys have ever stayed at a hostel. I've never stayed at a hostel, but when we were looking to go to Europe, we looked at hostels and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to stay in that. But basically you have your own bedroom, but you share a common restroom and a common shower. And so she actually was kind of doing the same thing, but she had like an incident where she was acting strangely and her roommates kind of complained. So they put her in her own room and that was their odd behavior described. And so that was something that they found during the investigation. Of course, they found the video during the investigation. So her body was found, like I said, February the 19th by a maintenance worker after the management received lots of complaints of low water pressure. Guys, I'm going to spare you the details on what they encountered, but her body was found in the main water tank. The Netflix documentary goes to show that they did an autopsy and toxology test, and they issued that Lisa Lam had accidentally drowned. She didn't have any physical trauma on her body and no drugs that might have contributed to her death. But they did say that her bipolar disorder probably played a significant condition in her death. So one of the things that you'll hear in that documentary on Netflix was that she did have a disorder. She had reduced her meds on her own, not with her doctors. She didn't consult her doctors on it. Consent, yeah. And so they feel like she might have had a manic episode, and that's why she was maybe seeing things, hearing things. And honestly, when I watched that documentary, I felt good about it. I felt like that's actually probably what happened to her, just because, because of the levels of medicine that she had in her body, and also because her sister contributed, saying that she did have those episodes in the past.
So, you know what's weird? Can we pause for just a second? Can you put a little mark on your notepad real fast? Let me just ask you two ladies this, and everyone else at home watching this. For any of you that remember when this came out, I remember when this came out. I remember when Elisa Lam came out, and it was very first. I remember when it slept for a while, and then it came back because they found her body, and it was just like, what the flip? I mean, it was, and they showed pictures, so you can see these are the actual water barrels up here on the top of the hotel.
Right.
She was in one of these barrels.
Right.
These things, it's not easy to get into, but it's not going to be terribly difficult. But for the behavior that they're saying she had, it's hard for me to be like, wait, so under a delirious episode, she was able to get up to the building, and instead of falling off at any number of these sides that you see here, she somehow made her way up into the barrel in the water and get drowned.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about another thing, though. At no point do I recall, and I'm not saying that this is the thing, but I do pick up on the mental stuff whenever they talk about any of these cases that I'm interested in all the time, because I do wonder about that too, Sandy. I don't ever recall them saying anything about her having schizophrenia, delirious episodes, medication, things that she could be around the streets. None of that was ever mentioned in any of the news things that I had ever watched about her.
Right. You're right.
And so it's odd to me that later on we hear everyone talking about the story. And I'm not saying they're wrong on that, because when it comes to mental health things, people are kind of discreet and they don't want the world to know that thing. And so that kind of makes sense.
Right.
But I just think it's odd. So I'm just throwing that odd peculiarness out there.
And let me tell you this, you are not alone, because I find the answer satisfactory. And maybe that just makes me feel better about Elisa Lam. But you're not alone. There's lots of people that are like you, just like you. How did she get up there on her own? I just, I can't explain it. I can't explain how she got up there on her own. But I also can't explain someone putting her up there, because it's kind of difficult for someone to put her up there. So,
Almost
it's a mystery.
If you're going to put someone up there, you had to have known that stuff was up there.
Exactly.
You had to have had a knowledge of this, right? And maybe thought, oh, maybe the body will decompose. Do we even want to say about how they even thought to look up there? Did you say that part?
Well, I did. I said they complained of low water pressure. I'm going to skip the gory details because you can watch that on the show. But yeah, that's the only reason they went up there. And that's kind of one of the curious things too, is originally they had said that the hatch was open on one of these water tanks. But if, according to the Netflix series, there actually the water tank was not open. And so that's a lot of question too, is like, how did she manage to close it? There's still lots of questions. I just know that I guess this family needed closure, and they got somewhat of closure.
You know what? I think they did. Okay.
And they did try to sue for negligence, I believe, but that suit was dismissed because they just didn't have enough, I guess, what are the words?
Hotel?
Grounds. Yeah. They did try to sue the hotel because of it. And I want y'all to watch this, and I want y'all to tell me, how creepy is that manager? That manager just gave me the creeps.
I was about to. If you haven't seen the Netflix, watch The Manager. Now, I watched a body analyst where he reads body language, what I noticed right away was the deadness in her eyes when she was interviewing, and this laughs and the smirk she made. She was very protective of the hotel, but when it came to Elisa Lam, she never had any sort of sympathy towards that. She just was like, no, the hotel didn't do anything. And there's a big investigation because in the video, there's time missing from the video of her encounter in the elevator. And so the analysis is that she's like, well, nobody could have altered that video. This is the manager. Nobody could have altered that video here in the hotel. And that was a key word that alerted a lot of people. The body language analyst couldn't get a good read on her because from what he said,
her eye just moved by itself.
What did?
What? Her back thing moved by itself just now.
I didn't see it.
Oh my gosh. The other side.
I'm home by myself today, so.
I was just kidding. I'm sorry.
But what he couldn't get a read on her because there was no expression in her eyebrows or her face because he suspects that she had Botox. But what he was reading was the lower part of her face that was able to move. And she just has a lot of tells or signs of very protective of the staff of the hotel. So go back and watch that Netflix series and get your own opinion about this manager. Yeah, she gave me the creeps. I feel like she knows something.
And so another thing about this manager, though, during all of this, instead of calling 911, she calls her mother.
She calls her mom first.
She calls her mom first. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I'll call the police here in just a minute. I'm like, what? My mother's like the last person I'm going to call when there's an emergency.
When there's a dead body.
When there's a dead body in the water system, and I'm the manager.
Oh, wait, the manager called her mom first?
Yes, the manager calls her mom, not Elisa Lam's mom. She calls her own mother to tell her what has happened.
She's like, hey, Mom, just in case, this may be on the news later. Don't worry.
It's just one little body.
Well, Mom.
Yeah. This lady, You have to go look at it. This lady gave everybody the creeps. She's like super chill about it. Like, can you black out my face? I just need you to black out my face while I give this interview. Like, I don't want anybody seeing me. No, and she was not. She was just out there. She was really strange. She's a strange character.
She is a strange character. She almost seemed like she enjoyed it working in chaos. Like she liked because there was.
I know people like that.
Suicides and murders in that hotel, and she stayed there for 10 years. And I tell you what, the first sign of a dead body, here's my resignation. Not even 2 weeks. Like here's 2-minute resignation. I'm out.
Don't be rash. That's what
Let's talk about it first.
Let's just talk about it.
So I do want to bring up a point to this. So this because it's so funny that you said that, because I had recently had some conversations with my kids, and I was like, what would happen in this scenario? What would you do? And they're like, call mom. And I was like, okay, let's not do that first. Let's call the, so we went through scenarios, and I was like, so if you see this, if daddy's here, if I'm not in the car, how do we lock the door, we honk the horns, call mom, I'll leave my phone in the car for you all the way. You know what I mean? We were just running through those scenarios, and I was like, don't call mommy first. Call the police first.
So, but for show purposes, how old are your daughters?
Right.
Both are in their teens.
So they're in their teens. This lady is in her
40s,
50s,
probably. Yeah,
40s, 50s.
Okay.
She knows better. She knows better.
Like, I'm gonna call. Like, you better believe. After I call the police, I'm calling my mom. Be like, Mom, check this shit out. Like, I am. I'm gonna call my mom, but she's probably not gonna be the first phone call. You know what I'm saying?
Mom, I gotta go. The police are here.
Right? Like, Mom, that chisme. Are you ready for the chisme? we're gonna be chismeando, but she's not gonna be the first one. I can't be interrupted when I'm giving the chisme. You know how it is.
So okay. Anyway, where are we at now? So
now she's found, they've said, okay, here's the deal. She didn't take all of her meds. The sister confirms that she has had these manic episodes before. And like I said before, I'm okay with that. All of these people have a question. The question is, did the Cecil Hotel call them? Did the Cecil Hotel summon them? Did the hotel itself summon them? And who better to answer this question than Renee in Austin?
Hello.
Renee in Austin.
Bring it.
Renee, take it away.
This I'm so excited for this, because this hotel has so much history, and it's not good history. And so if you dive into this hotel started off, like Sandy said, in a bad way. It gets built. It's supposed to be a very elaborate for really rich people to come and celebrate. I mean, if you see the whole foyer is marble. It's all marble. It's beautiful. Art Deco. It's just beautiful. And so when you see it, you're like, oh, wow, this is really fancy. But from up above the elevators, all the rooms are so tiny. And just right away, when the Depression hit, it just went downhill from there. And Sandy had mentioned suicides. There were many murders. I saw an interview where a man said, you just didn't go up to the 14th floor. You just didn't you didn't talk to anybody. You stayed in your room and you left it there. Now you ask the question if the hotel called her. I've seen so many articles about this hotel almost being a portal for evil, not just because where it's located, because of all the bad energy that's happened there and all the murders and suicides. A lot of people like to commit suicide in hotels, so they're not an issue or a problem to the people that are in their home. They like to get away, go where nobody knows them, be in private. And there's just a lot. There's a lot
of the Cheers song,
right?
Where nobody knows your name.
There's a lot of a more trauma and death in that hotel than we have time for tonight. So I definitely think that this hotel brings energy. And I did you send Jamie the link for that?
I did not. I was just now thinking about that.
I'll send it real quick. So I watched this this ghost hunter, and he's solo, and that's what you don't get a lot of when you see ghost hunting shows. Is usually there's a team of them, but this man just went in about 2 years or 3 years after the Lisa Lam case, and he stayed in her room, and he stayed in Richard Ramirez's room. So
let me remind you too, Richard Ramirez was a self-proclaimed Satan worshiper. Just for context. Okay.
So if you go to, I have it time marked. There's a part where he picks up EVPs, and the EVP says, "Look into the water tank," or something like that.
EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. In case y'all are wondering,
it's at a 16 minutes and 11 seconds, and it says, "Look into Elisa's drowning." The EVP tells him to look into her drowning. And he picks up a whole lot of EVPs of banging on the walls. So he's by himself. This man, this man has balls because he's by himself. There's not a team.
Not today, Satan.
Anybody else, and he's asleep. And he picks up all these EVPs, and I'm so excited about this because they know his name. They call his name.
Oh, stop
and
it!
So I think that when an EVP is picked up that says your name, there's something else besides a ghost. That's something else. He also stays in Richard Ramirez's old room. And he encounters a lot of activity right there with EVPs.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to see if I can get away with it.
Okay, focus, everybody.
Yeah, because I won't have...
Focus. And
I sped it up a little bit. Hold on.
My snoring. Like, hey.
You said 1611?
1611.
Okay, I'm trying to get it close to there.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, so listen up, folks.
How's that? Sound like that. Pretty much what it sounded like. All right.
Oh my.
Yeah, he picked up a whole bunch. And that was Elisa's her room that she stayed in after she left that hostel floor. Mm-hmm. She was on the 4th floor. And so it's very interesting. That hotel. I don't have their link, but husband and wife stayed in this hotel a couple years after this. And they were just looking for a cheap place to stay in downtown LA. And so they go in, and right as they go into the hotel, they're like, "Hey, this is nice." Well, they get up to the room, and they were shocked because they gave him a key instead of a card.
Right,
like an old-fashioned key. So they get into the room, and it has this chair that's a hand. Like you sit your butt right here in the palm of the chair. Well, they had to go do some stuff, and the wife took a nap, couldn't sleep, just noises all around her. People in the hallway, everything. The husband comes back, and she was sitting there, and they were just resting. And she said that it sounded like someone was trying to get into the room. They opened the door, and there was nobody there. A couple minutes or hours later, he went into the bathroom, comes out, and the chair that's like this had turned in that time. They didn't know anything about this hotel. They had no idea about the history of this hotel until the Netflix series came out of Elisa Lam. And they said that hotel just gave them the creeps. Like, they didn't even go in the elevator. The husband's like, "I'm not going in that elevator." They used the stairs. And he said he's claustrophobic. But there's just so much about this hotel that me, being me, I want to go investigate.
Right. That's what I was thinking. That might be right up your alley.
It's just there's so much phenomenon. And when you have that much negative energy in one building, of course, there's something going on. There's an interview there's security there now. The building still stands, and security has to work there to keep people out of this hotel. People keep trying to get into this hotel. And they asked the security, "Do you ever hear or see things when you're," and it's just them, they're by themselves in this empty hotel. And all the security guy was like, "Sometimes." I hear things.
Well, there's this guy, and if you I think you have to Google it. I mean, you have to like search it, but there's this guy on YouTube who loves to try to fly his drone into an open window in the Cecil Hotel. So he's pretty much worth watching too. And there's actually a lady that used to be a housekeeper. She's also on TikTok, and English is her second language, but she goes on and tells her stories in English about what she encountered at the Cecil and just the different kind of hauntings and things that she saw and heard. So definitely the Cecil is haunted. I don't know who all haunts it. I don't know if you have like Renee, if you ever saw like a list of who all haunts it. But like you said, I know that people have said that they've seen like Richard Ramirez in there maybe. And they also saw one, and I think that might be it, of someone trying to jump out the window.
Now,
And
the interesting thing about this hotel is that it's 14 stories high. And this hotel, for some reason, was very known for jumpers, people that just jumped out of the hotel to commit suicide. And not just one person, many people are just that's it. I'm going to jump out. One lady was so upset, her and her husband, this was way, I think, back in the 60s, and her and her husband had a fight, and she just had enough and jumped out of the hotel and fell on top of another man and killed him instantly during her suicide.
Killed him along with her,
Murder, suicide.
And then another lady killed herself, jumped out of the window, and she ended up on the canopy over the front door, but she wasn't discovered until a few days later. She did eventually die because she hit stuff on the way down, but her body, like, she didn't hit the floor, so nobody knew she was there until
her body didn't hit the floor.
No, it didn't hit the ground. So, but that picture right there was taken by a photographer that was just taking pictures of the hotel. Wasn't even looking for that. And that just looks like somebody that just wanted to jump out the window.
Yeah.
Right here?
That's it.
That's the head right there?
I mean, I think the head is that black thing up there up at the top. That's those are Chi-Chi's. Oh, I do see that now. I didn't see him now. Like before then.
Put it in perspective.
The Chi-Chi, there's like two people trying to jump out. Well, actually, one of them's flashing everybody, but like there's a person trying to jump out.
I don't see. Now I do.
You don't see the Chi-Chis?
I do now.
That's so funny. I didn't even see them before. But yeah, it's like someone's trying to jump out or hit somebody with the bat. What is up with that?
Man.
I didn't even notice that.
It's very.
And I think is that the? Did you send me a separate one, or maybe that's a Grim Reaper trying to jump out of a window?
You know what? I was like, wait a minute, or is that a side right there? And then here's his shoulder, arm, and then here's his leg, and the other leg right here, and there's the head.
It's just, and the photographer said nobody was there when he took that picture. It wasn't
like no one that I didn't want to be there.
Right.
Right. And there's another picture I just sent you, Jamie.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
It is, and now the location's not disclosed. It does say it's in the Cecil Hotel. It looks like it could be in the basement or like if you look really close, it's really hard to decipher, but there is a silhouette of
Did you say a silhouette?
How much have you had to drink, man?
It's an anomaly right there.
Yeah, I see his head right there. Mm-hmm. He's got his left
hand
carrying
on his football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought he was doing the get dance.
Yeah,
we joke about this, folks, because it's hard for us to take this in at times.
And it's one of those scenarios that, this was like Sandy said, this was a place where people lived for very cheap, for like $400 a month.
Yeah, something crazy. $14 a day or something. So, like some of the people that they interviewed in this show, like they've been there for years and years just because it's the cheapest place that they can go to. So
sure.
It was a place for drugs. It was a place for, methamphetamines. It was a place for sex workers. All sorts of, shady
Canal
people.
Slingers.
And then when the hotel tried to clean up its act, they just changed the name. And half of the hotel was for the residents, and the other half was for the stay in Maine
Yeah, the way
clean
they divide it up is really interesting to me. I did see that. That was in the documentary. It's like there's like the area for the ones that are just staying 2 and 3 nights, but then there's the ones that are like permanent residents that
right.
that live there. Yeah, that's super strange to me.
And it's really sad that Elisa Lamb didn't see. She went on like Travelocity or some website to find the ratings on this, and I really believe that she was bamboozled a little bit on where she was, because she, like you said, she never really traveled much. She was very much protected by her parents, and she wanted to travel the world and go to LA and spend a few days there, and then she would go to another place and spend a few days there. And I mean, bless her heart, it's terrible. I would like to think the way she was acting, if you haven't seen the rest of the elevator scene, the way she's acting and the way she's contorting her hands and her body, it could be a schizophrenic episode. But in my opinion, there's something spirit evil going on. Like, I feel like there's something else, but that's just me that lured her up there. I don't know, to climb up the what's that elevator? Not the elevator,
the water
fire
tower.
escape,
Yeah,
to climb up it's just.
She climbed a lot, actually, because she had to climb. She had to climb out. She had to go upstairs, and then she had to be undetected to go out to the water tower. But according to the lady without the facial features that called her mom, the manager, I guess that's what her title is.
Mm-hmm.
According to her, like, it was all regulated. Like, there was bells that were supposed to ring, alarms that were supposed to go off had she exited. But I want to say that some people were like, no, sometimes those alarms didn't work, or
right.
it's super strange.
Yeah,
and they
there
even
should have
said
been
some
a
of those
camera.
videos didn't work. Yeah, that was one of the things too, is those cameras didn't work. And there was something else about Renee, that there was like an issue with the timing. That's why it was kind of, I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched it.
In the video, apparently, allegedly, there's a minute missing from the video of her elevator footage. Mm-hmm. And people are like, where is this missing time? Where'd it go? And the manager's like, I don't know. She's just like, I gave the police everything.
I was talking to my mom during that time. People, don't be bothering me with questions.
Right. I had to call my mother and get Botox. So
right. Thank you. I just scheduled an appointment.
I know. So for Elisa Lamb to go up there by herself, when she was found, she had no clothes on. She was completely naked.
Yeah, that's true.
And so there's just a lot of empty holes in this story. They closed the case. They determined that she drowned. There's just a lot of empty holes. If the cameras were working in the hotel, how come they didn't see her leave that particular floor or that area? They do now, because that gentleman that I showed you in the video, he was trying to. They won't let you film in the hotel right now. No. You can't go in there and film. And so he had to hide.
COVID spreads if you film.
Right. He had to hide his camera every time. And it was like a cat and mouse game. There was security always chasing him around. It's very intriguing to watch his video. And they would see him on the camera. So it's very strange.
And that's another thing that piques my curiosity, is like, why do you care so much if people film? Like, what's up with that? Like, that's exactly. Like, what does it matter? Like, film all you want. I mean, what is that going to hurt? But there's something there. There's something that they're trying to hide. That's my only thing. So real quick, I want to go back to Carrie's question. She said, but what were her past manic episodes like? And when people have a history of manic episodes, are there similar behavior patterns between each episode? So honestly, Renee, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that they went through and exactly said what her manic episodes were. Her sister said she had similar episodes, but she didn't go into detail. She just said that she'd had similar instances similar to what they saw on camera. And that's really kind of as much in depth as she went into it. My thing as a parent, this is kind of something that I discussed with somebody that I was talking about this when I was watching the show. If I knew that my child had these kind of behavioral issues or mental issues, I don't know that I would be comfortable letting them go on their own. I would be like, I'm sending so-and-so with you, or I'm coming with you, or somebody's going with you, but I don't want you traveling alone. Again, that's just my personal
How
thought.
old
I
was
don't know.
Elisa?
She was 21. She was
Yeah.
21, but very much, well, I mean, from what I gathered, she had a very strict kind of, they were Asian and they had like certain values and morals, and she just kind of really begged to go on this trip, and her parents finally broke down and allowed her to, even though she was 21. I just feel like if I had these kind of concerns, I would have sent a chaperone at the very minimum.
Right. Yeah, well, and there's some things behind that, right? There's some things. So, for example, anyone who deals with schizophrenia specifically, for example, once you start going down here, once symptoms begin to present themselves, there's no such thing as going back. Once the symptoms start coming, it only gets worse forward. No amount of medicine, training, anything like that prevents schizophrenia from not
Surfacing.
coming on.
Mhm.
Yeah. So once you start it, the rest of the way is downhill. Now it's just a matter of more symptoms progressing, more times between episodes, more severe. And the thing is, it's kind of going back to what Carrie what CPJ was asking about. What were the different episodes like? It all depends. So you can have an episode. They don't happen because of certain incidents all the time. They just happen randomly. So if you're in a very mania episode, which is very happy, very excited, you're going to have schizophrenic symptoms that correlate with that. But if you have an episode when you're in a very depressed state, then you're going to have symptoms that look more depressive. Same thing with when you're in an anger or sadness part, you're going to have the episode as it correlates to what you're feeling naturally at that moment. And so they are going to range. They're not going to be the same. There's not a specific scenario that keeps playing, though there can be. It's not a perfect science. But you would say that, does it fall within the realm of possibility for this person? The answer would be yes. It would look like these type of things, but it's not as perfect science kind of situation. So while mom and dad might have said no, it's also very plausible that Elisa, on her own, under an episode, decided to leave without mom and dad's permission. It's possible she thought, I'm doing well enough right now. I'm going to go ahead and go because it's all downhill from here, and I'm at my best that I can be at this moment. And then it just turns. It can turn. I've heard and I've seen read stories about kids in 21. Here's the other thing. 21 does seem to be that age when schizophrenic episodes like really happen, like really increase with severity too.
And something that you just said just kind of struck me, because you said, it's one of those where, they feel like they've got it under control. So just from drawing from personal experience in situations, it's like, okay, so I've been taking my medication. I feel really good. So I'm going to stop taking it. And in this instance, Elisa might have felt that same way. Like she felt, you know what, I'm feeling the best that I've ever felt. I'm going to go ahead and back off my medication. And that's something that her toxicology reports did report, is that she had indeed backed off of her medication. So
it's really sad, and like for the paranormal aspect, I think if there's so much bad energy that may have amplified that, in my opinion. There's a couple of people that I've investigated, and this lady said 3 years ago, she said she stayed there on the 14th floor for 5 minutes before she had to leave. When she jumped on the 14th floor, she got super nauseous all of a sudden. And it was so intense. The energy there is hard, and it's hard to breathe. Another lady said that she stayed there in December of 2016. When she came back to her room, the TV was turned on and it was all the way up. The volume was all the way up. And she swears that she had that TV off when she left. And so another lady said she found it very uncomfortable to stay there. It was always hot and noisy in the hotel, that she had more nightmares staying at that hotel than any other place in her life. Wow. And she had a migraine the whole time. And she stayed in the nice side of the hotel, not the
Main
really
Street,
nice
or what is it
place,
called?
right?
Stay on Main.
She said that the really annoying thing was the staff, that the staff seemed to be very suspicious that they actually asked for, now this is another story altogether, but they asked for her credit card to take a photocopy, come to find out that the staff was using fraudulent charges on her credit card. So when we talk about the staff that could have done something or known something, I don't discount that, because they already, from what I'm seeing from people who stayed there, were very shady in the first place. But
I think you have to have a bit of shady to stay there. I mean, to even work there. I'm not just, I mean, it has to be like the last job on earth for me to go work at the Cecil Hotel. I'm just going to tell you that right now. No.
They better pay a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially, to be a security guard there now, when there's nothing there right now. It's just,
and you have to go up those 14 floors to go make sure that it's secure. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know what to think about the Cecil Hotel. I do know that some very shady, unsavory characters have stayed there. And do I feel like they've brought their bad energy? For sure. Like we said, Richard Ramirez was a self-proclaimed Satan worshiper. So did he bring his bad energy there? Did he practice that? Hell yeah, he did. He even mentioned that in court.
And his tidy whities? Oh.
Yeah. And well, when he held his hand up and he was like, hell, Satine, if you know what I mean. But yeah, for sure he did stuff there. Yeah, there's just no way that I would ever want to stay there. And does it have negative energy? Oh, without a doubt. There's been way too many deaths in that particular hotel to say that there's not any negative energy. At the end of the day, did this hotel call some of these people there? Maybe. I feel like it did.
I think it's just a perfect storm of a hotel for all sorts of things to happen that are bad. It's just like, and like I forget which series, but American Horror Story filmed there, or it was
based on that. Yeah.
Based
American
on that
Horror
hotel.
Stories, and there's a couple of other ones that have been based on it is loosely based on the Cecil Hotel for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really a sad, scary place, and I'm going to go investigate it.
Right. And you know what? I hope you get to investigate it, and then I hope they demolish it and then just build something else, just because that's got a lot of history. That has a lot of sad history.
Right. It's, and being so close to Skid Row or on Skid Row, it's one of those situations where all the, people coming in and out of that hotel, but it's like what, $14 a night to stay there?
Yeah, it's something crazy cheap. Yeah, for sure.
And so I just think that it's one of those situations where they just don't care. If you pay, you stay.
Yeah, exactly. What's so funny is I asked Kate, I was like, when I was getting ready for the show, I'm like, hey, do you remember when you were on Skid Row? Did you ever see the Cecil Hotel? He's like, no, Mom. I just stared straight ahead to where I was going. I never looked to the side. He was just so freaked out about how bad the Skid Row actually was. And we have a comment from CPJ. She's like, dang, this has my blood pressure up. I'm on Netflix's. You know what? Netflix at CPJ. And I want us to talk about it. I want to know how you feel about it. Just because, like I said, I felt like I got closure with the Lisa Lamb, just because I just thought, like I said, I instantly thought it was paranormal. And then when they said meds, psychotic episode, I really thought, I think that's what it is.
So let me give you this ish number real quick. There's some very rough estimates online, so don't use this as an exact quote kind of thing, but there's some people who've estimated that the ballpark's deaths, there's 800 deaths per year per 100,000 people of population that are dying in hotels.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So it sounds high, 800 deaths per year per 100,000 people. That means that over all the hotels, though. So so if you had a hotel with an average of 1,000 people staying every night, and those people had the same demographics to them, you'd expect to see 8 deaths a year.
Okay.
So this one
it was going to be higher.
I don't know. I feel like the Cecil probably had higher.
The Cecil, I think, probably exceeds that particular. So let me tell you all this. So Eric and I were in Vegas one time, and Eric's brain and my brain think totally different. Eric's like, hey, Sam, he's like, if this room sells, let's just say all these rooms fill up and they sell for $100 a night, this is how much money they're making. And I'm looking at it like, babe, I wonder how many dead bodies are in these rooms. How many people have died? And that's where we differ. But anyway.
No, I get it. I'm always looking at a house. I'm like, that's haunted. That's haunted.
Totally
That's
haunted. And I look at it, I'm like, oh, we can't insure that roof. But anyway, total separate. Renee, thank you so much for being on. Mr. Pineapples, thank you so much for dropping your knowledge. We've gone over our time, but I've enjoyed it. The Cecil Hotel is super intriguing and a morbid curiosity.
We could probably do like
way.
an episode for each of the strange people, murders, deaths, whatever you want to say that this thing has had. So I could totally see revisiting this just from a different person, profile perspective, however you want to say it.
For sure. Just going from the owners, going from the people that have stayed there, going from the people that have used it as a, oh my gosh, Jacob.
I know.
Did you see this, Jacob? I hope you hit this on the replay because we were Googling.
The 11-minute mark, Jacob. So after we
were
finish,
fangirling you. Go back and rewatch it.
Yes.
But anyway, guys, I've enjoyed this show. Renee, thank you so much for being on. And I am actually going to hop on over to Renee's show at some point to do something with her so that we can talk about some more sheet up in there. But anyway, I enjoyed it. The Cecil Hotel. I want you guys to watch that and see what you guys think about it. And just kind of do your own research. There's like a lot of podcasts on it, and see what you guys think. See if you find any different stories that you guys want us to talk about. Anyway, always looking for guests, always looking for topics. And y'all know I love to talk sheet. So let's keep talking sheet. You guys have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Enjoyed it. Bye.